Joe Scarborough speaking this morning, trying to warn people. Okay, so this is a guy who's got a show on MSNBC, and he knows where his bread is buttered. You know, they keep leaning into this anti-Trump stuff in hope of getting more ratings. I don't know if it's working for them. I mean, it's interesting to me that CNN is kind of coming around and saying, okay, we got to call a spade here. But Joe Scarborough is doing some little chit chat with his buddy Willie. No, sorry, not Willie, the other one, Donnie. Oh, everybody's got a little E on their end. Anyway, so Donnie goes on the show. Donnie, well, you'll see him. And they're talking and Joe just goes off and I'm like, is this getting old to anyone? Like, how many times are you going to sit there and tell us he's the devil? Like we're all like, okay, yeah, you keep telling us that. And like everything keeps backfiring and boomerangs on all of you. Like none of this stuff is sticking. This Michael Cohen thing is a mess. This Letitia James thing is a mess. You get the Supreme Court now saying, you know, I don't think there's any there. I mean, enough already, right? But anyway, we're supposed to be scared. Make sure you're scared. Joe has like a total meltdown here saying, you got to be scared. And if you're a Republican, you cannot absolutely vote for this guy. Because if you do, it's the end of the world as we know it. Wasn't that a song? Here we go.
We have a vote. We're going to have a vote this fall. And I know a lot of Republicans, John Meacham would call them Peter Millar vest-wearing Republicans, who just want to pretend that it's Bob Dole against Bill Clinton. They're going, well, I just always vote for a Republican. No, this year, you're not just voting for a Republican. It's a vote for a candidate who doesn't believe in the most basic principles of American democracy. And we could get on the list, but I really don't want to waste my breath on it because everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about, the killing of generals and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you have Republicans, those Peter Millar vest-wearing Republicans who want to say, oh, it's just like, it's Republicans and Democrats. What's the difference? No, it's a vote actually for somebody that does not subscribe to the most basic precepts of American democracy against a candidate who does. And it's really that simple, Donnie, isn't it?
It is. We've said many times on the show, when an authoritarian tells you what they're going to do, you pay attention to him. Well, now his followers are telling you what they're going to do, so you pay attention to it. And for anybody, and Joe, you can tick off the list. We can all tick off the list, whether it's no longer a free election, whether it's a weaponized Justice Department, whether it's an independent Federal Communications Commission, on and on and on. We can go. When anybody says to me, well, that's not really going to happen because we've got checks and balances in the institutions, you're already seeing there will be no checks and balances. So not only do we have the tell from Fearless Leader, we have the tell from the lemming followers. So there's no mystery here. So there is absolutely no mystery here. So anybody that votes Republican and doesn't understand you're voting for the end of democracy, just pay attention to the Sunday shows this past weekend. And the other thing I want to say, we've talked a lot about this on the show, and I've talked about this as a man, these pathetic men, the spinelessness, the obsequiousness, the sucking upness. I don't know how they face their loved ones. I don't know how they go home to their children.
Wow. What was that? I missed the part. That's the first time I heard him say that about men. I'd only listened to the beginning of it. Whoa. Oh my gosh. So they're going to try and shame you into voting for Biden. Incredible. I mean, what's up with these men? Men who actually want to protect women and protect their children and make sure that we don't wind up in World War III, make sure that they can put food on the table for their kids and that we actually have an economy and prosperity and that we live in a safe place that's not infiltrated by people that we don't know who just keep coming here and coming here and coming here. This is amazing. So last week, the administration made some subtle changes. Nobody reported on this. It's really kind of amazing that they made some subtle changes to the asylum requirements. It's now going to be that if you're somebody that the U.S. suspects of being a terrorist, that you can't actually plead asylum and get refugee status here. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, that's even a thing? Like, wouldn't you think it's kind of a given if you are somebody who is suspected of being a terrorist that you actually can't just come into the U.S. and plead asylum status? I mean, we actually have to put that in writing. I think that any normal man would want to make sure that he knows who's in and about his neighborhood, because he wants to protect his wife and kids. I mean, come on, Donnie. But anyway, so, they're going to like hit you with this all day long, over and over and over again. Donald Trump is bad. You cannot vote. I mean, what else have they got other than these fear tactics? They think that this sells, and yet it doesn't sell because Americans are like, gee, it really wasn't that bad. And you want to talk about taking over things. I mean, you got 4 different lawsuits against the guy, 91 indictments against the guy, including criminal accounts. And yet, the Michigan police, largest police union in the country, came out and endorsed Donald Trump. You know why? They think it's all a bunch of BS. They do. I mean, you think they're believing the likes of Whoopi Goldberg when she says this kind of, I'll leave that word blank on the air?
I'm going to be, on day one, I'm going to be a dictator. Who says it to you, tells you, I'm going to put you people away. I'm going to take all the journalists, I'm going to take all the gay folks, I'm going to move you all around and disappear you. If that's the country you want, you know who to vote for. If that's not the country you want, you have to make a decision.
Incredible. I mean, just so enormously irresponsible. But I guess when you're desperate, you become irresponsible. And that's what this smacks of. Total, utter desperation. They are so desperate to make sure that and I'm like, why? You know what, guys? He's actually not going to fire you. And he's actually not going to, look, I realize that you all want to put Newsmax and Fox and OAN and RBN and anything you can out of business. I do realize that. I realize how aggressive this FCC is under this administration. You know, he didn't do that. He actually didn't do any of that. I mean, Jim Acosta was welcome to be as rude as he wanted to be. And yet, you guys are the opposite. I mean, think about the letters that went out. Remember when the whole impeachment inquiry started around Joe Biden? And they went totally berserk, and there were these really threatening letters that went out to all the networks. Like, don't you dare, don't you dare. And then again, there's been very threatening language around Hunter Biden. For goodness sakes, Fox just pulled a whole show that they had on the air because they threatened a lawsuit related to Hunter Biden. So Hunter Biden is actually going to be back in court this summer. Those gun charges, remember, those are coming back to rear their ugly head because one judge, thankfully, knew that she couldn't sign off on that plea agreement. So are we actually going to have real reporting on that? I wonder. I also wonder how the heck they're going to run this guy. In all seriousness, you know what? He needs to take his balance of nature. He does. He needs to. I take my balance of nature every day. Fruits and veggies, everyone. I feel really good. I think I look pretty good. Thank you for the nice compliments. I am never one to turn, I read all your comments. I really do. I promise you I do. And so even if you just make a comment, I don't always, I am watching them live. So it's kind of a little bit of a party trick to be able to look at your live comments and talk to you all at the same time. But I always go back and I look at your comments after too. So if you want to leave a comment below, feel free to do that. But a lot of you have been very complimentary. And I always, they're like, oh, you are so respectful. I appreciate it. You're like, Trish, I don't know if I can say this, but I really liked your dress or your hair or whatever. And I'm like, you can say it. You can say it. It's a free country. You can say it. And I like compliments. So I appreciate you giving them to me. And I'm going to pass sort of the torch around here to our friends at Balance of Nature, because I do credit my health and my well-being in part to my lifestyle choices. And so I drink a lot of water and I walk every day and I do a little weight exercise. And I also take my vitamins, Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies every single day, every single morning. And I encourage you to do this too. 1-800-246-8751 is their number. If you use my name, Trish, Trish, you will get 35% off plus an additional $10 off plus free shipping. So it's a really good deal. I encourage you to check this out if you're not already on it. I know so many of you are. Leslie, you told me before you already take it. And then I got a call from my kid's music teacher. Oh my gosh, I love this stuff. I can't believe you take it too. I do. So fruits and veggies, Balance in Nature, 1-800-246-8751. Discount code Trish, Trish. And yes, I think that Biden could use some because, man, weekend at Bernie's, right? Weekend at Biden's. It's really getting kind of alarming. I don't know how they run them. I just don't know how they do it. I mean, if I think they're going to lose, guys. I think they're really and truly going to lose.